everybody. Welcome to TL's Roadhouse with our very special guest, Miss Ella Langley, today.
How are we feeling?
Well, yeah, I'm dragging a little bit. This tour's kind of grinding down on me.
Oh yeah, it's been going since February.
Yeah, we're actually out with Riley Green. We're in Washington State today. We have tonight. We have one show in Oregon, and then we finish up in Denver, and then
Red Rocks.
Red Rocks are almost done.
I've never played Red Rocks. Have you?
A couple times back in the '90s. It's been a while since I've been there.
So excited.
Yeah.
That's been a bucket list thing for. Since you discovered you could do that.
Beautiful venue.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the top 2 or 3 in the country. The other one that if you ever get a chance to play is the Gorge here in Washington State.
I've played the Gorge before.
It's breathtaking, isn't it?
Yeah, we did. I did Watershed last year,
Wow.
and I played the Gorge, and I was trying to hit golf balls off into it, and I couldn't do it, so I just picked it up and threw it, so I could at least feel
just
it.
so massive. I mean, just the grandeur of the whole thing. It's just an amazing place to play.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's beautiful.
So, Alabama girl.
Alabama, Montgomery. Well, it's at Hope Hole. It's really the town.
Hope Hole.
Hope Hole. HOPEHULL.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me to spell it for some reason whenever
What does
they
Hope
ask.
Hole mean? So I don't know.
There's a lot of Indian names down there.
Because I know there's a place on Old Hickory Lake called Cordell Hull, but I don't know what a hull is. Maybe we should look what a hull is up. I'm not sure what a hull is.
You been down to the hole before?
I've been down. I've been down in a hole, but I ain't been down in a hole.
Y'all going down to the hole tonight?
It's near Montgomery.
Yeah. Anyways, just lived 18 years of my life there.
Really?
Well, a hull is the main body of a ship or a vessel.
A hull.
Oh.
But we're talking about a land. Yeah, but different.
I've never looked that up. I feel educated.
That's scary. If we're educating you, we have a serious problem here. It's like the blind leading the blind.
That's all right. It's just how we do it.
That's it.
That's all.
So how old were you when you got the bug for music? When did it start for you?
I don't remember a day not having it.
Yeah.
Oh, this has always been. I've just felt so passionately that this was what I was going to do. I never thought one day of my whole entire life that I wasn't going to pursue this career.
So there was no backup plan.
No. My grandparents on my dad's side, all my family loves music, but my grandparents on my dad's side, my grandma had my dad when she was 45.
Wow.
Yeah. So they were older when I was born, and I was the first girl in our family for the longest time. She had all sons. So when I was born, she's like, yes. And I lived at their house pretty much. I mean, they literally asked to adopt me. They're like, you have the other siblings. We'll just take this one, But they were really musically inclined. My grandpa could play any instrument by ear. He was just one of those, he could pick up anything and just kind of figure out how to play it. I mean, when he was growing up, that's all they had was music, and he was one of 5, and they just passed it down. The first one learned and taught the next one, and then taught the next one. And family reunions, all of us were just singing. I was the only grandkid singing in there. I mean, the mail lady would come over, and we'd be in the back room, and my grandparents would be like, you want to hear Ella sing? I grew up in church singing. I mean, I've just always wanted to do it. My mom tells a story. The first time I got up and sang at church was Amazing Grace, is what I sang. Amazing Grace and Froggy Went A-Courtin' were the first 2 songs I learned how to sing. Not many people know Froggy Went A-Courtin', but
I know Froggy Went
it's a tune.
It's classic.
It's classic. But I got up on stage. My grandpa was up there playing the piano. I was probably 3, and I just looked at him, she said, and I gave him that nod, and she's handed me the mic, and I said, I know how, in the middle of church. My grandma was like sitting there like, I just, like we learned,
Do you ever feel like, I always felt like there was kind of a destiny thing with me that I always felt the same way. Do you feel like that it was like just born in you, that you knew what you were supposed to do from the time you got here?
I just feel like it's like an appendage. It feels like it is. It's a part of me. I could not imagine doing anything else, and I knew if I tried to pursue it, I would never enjoy my life. I would never be happy because genuinely, I remember being a kid just laying there listening to music, looking up at the ceiling or sitting there doing the dishes and looking out the window and daydreaming about it. Just, God, I have to do that.
When you were young, like if you would listen to a real sad song, would it bring emotions out of you? Would it make you cry even before you knew what love and heartbreak was?
Yeah,
Isn't that
yeah.
amazing how a song can do that when you don't really even understand the concept of what all that means when you're
Yeah,
young?
yeah. I remember the first time I thought a melody was insane was Rose-Colored Glasses, John Connolly.
Really? What
And
about it?
I just, something, I remember being a kid and just loving how that song sounded. My dad had this CD. He traveled for work first 12 years of my life. Every
Yeah.
Monday through Thursday, he was a salesman, so he was going out selling transmissions. And sometimes he'd take us and let us go, and he had this CD, and he'd play it every time I got in the car, and it had Willie Nelson, John Connolly, David Allan Coe, a little Michael Bublé, because, I think some Jim Croce maybe.
I like all that, yeah.
But, we wore that thing out. So much so that, and You Never Even Call Me By My Name, that was one that we just sang it so loud, and that was, a request every time I got in the car as a kid. And halfway through, there's like this rubber ducky sound. I remember listening to the tape, and I remember sitting there as a kid, like, wow, what the heck? I'm trying to picture them with like a duck or a rubber duck, and it sounds just like a toy in the record. And I didn't find out until I was older when I listened to that song on my own that was not in the record. That was on the CD. So I felt bamboozled my whole life.
So what was it? I mean,
I don't
something
know,
your dad had
a
recorded?
skip or
just some
who
little
knows.
weird
My mom
thing.
burned it on CD for him, so who knows. But I just genuinely remember thinking, like, what? Why did they put a duck in? Like, I'm thinking of them in the studio.
Well, there used to be a lot of strange things that were done to get different sounds in the studio. I've heard of people going out and beating on hubcaps and clinking on rocks and all different kinds of things, just searching for any kind of unique sound that they could come up with. Of course, we think everything's in the box nowadays.
I know.
Pro Tools,
Steven Tyler has some really cool stories about. I love watching videos of him talk about how they came up with different sounds in the studio. They're so creative. I mean, even now, I feel like, though, we kind of do that sometimes. Like me and my producer, Will, he'll be in there, like, scraping the floor or something, like trying to get like this one sound,
When you're searching for motivation, where does your motivation come from for songwriting?
Everywhere. I really do just write what I feel in my life, or I love story songs.
Did you start writing when you were real young too?
No, I didn't start writing until later. Performing was always what I loved to do. I always loved singing and performing, but I always tried to write. I just never, I don't know. Just didn't happen. I started playing shows before I did that, and that's why I moved to Nashville, was to surround myself with people that were doing it every single day. And I got real lucky with the people that I found, and so lucky.
So how old were you when you wrote your first one? Were you already in town?
No, probably 17.
Gotcha.
18 maybe, yeah. But no, I moved to town in 2019, so right before COVID, kind of.
Yeah.
It was August, so I'll be coming up on 5 years this August. But I moved to town, and Trey Lewis, you know that guy.
I know that guy. My buddy.
I moved in with him. I was dating a guy at the time, and his manager, the guy I was dating, was an artist too, and we all moved into a house together. That was a heck of a house to live in for 2 years, I'll let you know. But that was just, me and Trey started to write, and he introduced me to some people, and I found this girl. Her name's Joy Beth Taylor. And, man, she's from Alabama, too. We met in Nashville. The first time I met her, I went up to her. She played this song. She has this one called Memories. She doesn't do it anymore, but it's just the most incredible song. And it was the first time I was like, I'm going to go up to somebody and just see if I can get a right with them. And I walked up to her, and she's just kind of awkward when you give her compliments, but I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, I'm from Alabama. I think you're awesome. I would love to write. And she's like, yeah, all right, nice. And she goes outside, starts smoking a cigarette, and then leaves. I was like, dang, she hates me. Anyways, her and Trey became friends. And during COVID, we started doing live streams. To make money. We're poor. We were poor. And that's all of us. We do it constantly. And so she came over one night to do a live stream with us. And I think we smoked half a pack of cigarettes on the front porch. And we just became best buddies. And she's the most on this record I'm about to put out. I mean, it's my favorite person to write with. If I never had another write without her in it, I would with her. I want her in every write forever. That'd be fine. You know what I mean?
So I'm real curious. You know, the whole music scene in Nashville's changed a lot since the days when I got to town. You know, over 30 years ago. I mean, Music Row was different. The whole downtown scene was different. What's it like moving here? Moving to Nashville and trying to settle in? How difficult is it to get attention? I mean, what were the process you go through? What's the music scene like for a young artist coming in? How welcoming are your peers? I mean, paint me a picture of how things are when you first got to town in 2017, 2018, 19.
19, yeah.
Paint that picture for me.
Well, I was 20 when I moved to town, so a lot of the hanging out is in the bars.
Yeah, most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was a little fake ID.
You went anyways.
I went anyways. Well, people were like, "Yeah, I would love to meet with you," and I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Please don't get turned away at the door." You know, they're looking at me, and I'm like, "Hey, can we just go to the Shoney's down the street? You know, is that if I can get in there?" No, it's just I didn't know anyone other than Trey when I moved there, but he had been there for a couple months before me.
Yeah.
So I would just go out with him, and then he would just leave. He would leave me. We would go out, and then he'd be like, bye. And then I didn't know anybody, so I would just walk around, watch people play. And, you know, you meet one person, you meet another, and then you kind of start hanging out. And then rounds, you know, I feel like that's a good way to first showcase your songs. Not only that, but figure out how to play your songs live, you know, like when you're moving to town as a songwriter, like test them out or whatever, or just meet new songwriters or just be in that space of new people in town, because that's really what the rounds are, is a lot of new people in town and some people that have been there for a long time, depending on the round. And yeah, I don't know. It's just really just getting out there and doing it. You have to. You can't sit at the house and think something's going to happen. Not
in this day and age, and there's so many other things that factor into it too, with social media presence and all that stuff that you have to do now.
Yeah.
Who were some of the first labels that, I mean, did you meet some executives that started coming to rounds and different things? How did that progress for you?
Well,
I know it's a slow process.
Yeah, I feel like I keep saying I'm really hitting every step on the way up, you know, like even if it's a pinky toe, like down there touching it, like I'm touching it, you know what I mean? But, so I signed publishing first. I can't, it might have been booking, but I think it's publishing first. I met this girl, her name is Maya Hansen, and I met her because of Trey's song, Blew Up, and we were all playing rounds together. And you kind of meet your crew like that, you know, playing those rounds, like I said. And we were all playing the round that the song blew up in. So then all these people are coming to look at these writers and Trey. And so we're all playing these rounds together. And so they're seeing all of us. And that's what's cool about meeting your crew and kind of coming up that way. It really does. You meet those people and you just kind of grind it out together. And people you believe in and they believe in you. But so there's a whole bunch of publishing companies there. And I met Maya, and we just clicked. And she's like, I need you to write everywhere. I want you to just go figure out how to write at all the publishing companies. I want you to like learn what you like, what you don't like. I was like, okay. So that's what I did. I mean, it was crazy. It's hard to get in there, and then you just use one connection to get to another, and it's just really hustling. It is. It's just a lot of hustling and like working on your craft. And I think honestly, just people want to work with people that work for themselves.
Oh, absolutely. And you want creativity. You want to be around creative people, too.
Right.
And you don't want to be around negativity.
No.
I mean, I tend to kind of push all that stuff to the side.
No. Yeah, I keep my circle very, very small, and I've always been that way. And I want people that I can trust and that trust me.
You find that things are real cliquish downtown these days?
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's
I find
normal,
and I think it's hard, too, living
Well, you can only manage so many people in your brain space at one time. I mean, it's a really difficult
thing. Well, also,
thing
we're so overstimulated, I feel like, out here sometimes. Like, it's when you get on the road, even if you're on the bus, like, you have this feeling of you're just not settled like you are at home. It's just never this feeling of, or at least I feel that way.
Yeah.
You're kind of on the whole time, and you're meeting different people, and you're doing different things. And while I love doing this life and doing all those, it does get overstimulating. So when I get back to Nashville, I want to sit at my house and play with my dogs.
Yeah. Do you feel like that roller coaster is pretty intense?
Yeah.
Because when it's all new, as you're going through the progression and seeing the steps and out in front of big crowds and doing all the stuff and touring all over the country, it's all real exciting. But one thing that I had to learn the hard way from, because when I started, I just wanted to work. All I could work. I mean, 289 shows my first full year on the road. It's like insane stuff, and you mentally cannot handle it. And I've had to learn over the years how to take personal time and be stingy about it and not let other people get in the way, because there's always somebody wanting something. There's always another show that can be booked, and it's always the more you turn it down, the more they want to pay you, and it's a snowball thing. And sometimes you have to just be firm, because if you don't take care of yourself, what's the old analogy? When the plane's going down, when the mask falls out of the ceiling, you put yours on first, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. So you have to be cautious with all that.
I know. Well, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Straight out of high school, I was playing. I was walking into bars, just please let me play here. Restaurants, anywhere. I was 3-4 nights a week going to college at the same time. Then I did the cover bar gig thing for 4 hours, 4 nights a week. I was booking my own shows every Monday. I'd get up, I'd send emails. I'm serious about this shit, and that's just kind of how I am with anything. Like, when I was a kid and we played community slow pitch softball, everyone's like, ha ha. I'm like, no, this shit's serious. Like, this shit, like, you don't understand, I might be like, I played soccer with 101 fever and pleurisy. I can't, this is how I am.
That's a word I don't hear much. Pleurisy. Got the pleurisy.
Right?
That's a country word. Absolutely. That's country sickness.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm familiar with it. It's just not a common term. I can tell we're from the country.
Yeah, people never tell me that. Not once in my life. Actually, no, it's literally every day. But yeah, I don't know. I was that way as a kid, just, Mom, what do we have planned for today, and mostly it was just go outside. So that's just what we did.
Go outside. But be home when it's time for supper.
Yeah, I was homeschooled for a few years, actually. I had when I was born, I had issues with my eyes, the muscles in my eyes, and I had 3 surgeries before, massive muscle surgeries. They take your eyeball out and go in there. It's wild. And my eye would cross. I'd see double. I saw my little kid pictures. I'm just cross-eyed. Hey, y'all, from Alabama. You couldn't guess. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Senior was looking for pictures for senior stuff was awesome. I was like, shit, can't use that one. Can't use that. Well, all right, just whatever. It's funny. But no, it's just always been that way. I feel like I've always had to work my ass off to get what I want. I was never, when I started out playing soccer, I was not very good at it, but I was like, I'm going to get good at it. When I did dance, same way, and I don't know.
You've got to have that drive. I think that's very important for people, especially that have a dream or a passion in mind, and you have something that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
You have to have determination and drive. You've got to have that fire, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And the competition is tremendous.
Yeah.
Everywhere you turn, there's competition.
Yeah.
And everybody's talented, and everybody's good at what they do, and 90% of them will never get a shot.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy when you think about how many people are down on Lower Broad, great musicians, great singers, great songwriters, and most of them will never get a chance?
Well, the actual I forgot where I heard this, but the actual statistic of, I think it was Joe Rogan that said this, of the people that pursue this and actually make it is 2%.
Yeah, it's way, way down.
2%. So, we're just defying odds out here.
Absolutely.
Every day. The other day, I got dropped off in a tour bus. Right off the tour bus, walked right in the airport. I was like, this is rock star shit. Everyone was kind of tired of walking out. I'm like, did y'all not see what we just did? This is, it's just, and that's something I've really tried to work on, because I do have the tendency to, I'm so passionate and I'm so focused, and those things are stuff that I like. Those things are dance and soccer and softball and whatever the hell. I like those things, but I love this, and I love it to almost probably an unhealthy degree.
Obsessive compulsive.
No, I'm obsessed. I've been obsessed. I do it every day,
To the
all
point that
day.
you go to bed at night, sleep, and dreaming about melodies. I went for years where I literally had to have my teeth worked on several times because I would play drums with my teeth at night and I was grinding my teeth down. The music never stops.
I know.
I've gotten better as I've gotten older, but it just, I mean, it's actually a blessing and a curse because it'll mentally grind you down at times, like make it stop.
I know, it's wild. And it's hard to say no to shit you want to do too, you know?
Well, especially when you feel like you got an opportunity and you want to make the most of every chance that you get and not let a good opportunity or a good situation pass you by because you don't know if that situation is going to present itself again.
Ever.
Yeah, because
you don't know what window you need to go through to get where you want to go, and so I'm taking a shot at every single one I see. Because why not? Why not? I think, and I've been working on this a lot this year, but for some reason I think it's hard to imagine our lives ending. You know, where it feels like there's something after. You know, there's something that goes on, but it's not. This is all we have. This is genuinely the only life we have. And when I'm, you know, looking back on everything that I've done, I want to say, like, at least, you know, I gave it hell. I gave it all I had. You know, that's all I got, and I'm going to take every shot genuinely that I have to make this happen. I've never wanted to do anything other than this ever.
It's a wonderful thing because everybody doesn't get that fire.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody on the planet doesn't come into the world knowing that there's this one thing that you're destined and supposed to do.
I know.
Most people can search a lifetime and never find it.
I know.
So we're really, if it's a blessing or a curse, I'll take the blessing part of it over anything else. But it's a heavy thing to bear sometimes.
Well, it is, and sometimes, you know, I've had feelings of, God, well, I just wish I didn't love this so much. Where I've gotten so in a place where I'm like, I just feel like I'm just. It gets that way because the highs are so high and the lows are so low, and there's really not a right here. You know,
do
it's
you
here
crash hard when you go home? I mean, you said
I hate it's the Sunday scaries. I hate them.
Yeah,
I hate them. Yeah, I don't like it. Me and Trey always talk about that.
Is it the quiet that gets you, or just I know there's times
I think you're alone with your thoughts.
I need to get away from people at times.
Yeah,
but I did not. I wasn't always that way. But as you get
older,
Monday
I'm fine. It's Sunday.
Just did it one day.
It's Sunday because when I get home, when I'm out here, something happens and I just don't really think about it again. You know, I just kind of go about my day. I got other things to do. There's a lot going on, you know. But then I get home and I'm like, man, that one thing I said on Friday was kind of weird shit. Like, I was like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have had 3 shots of tequila.
Have you found that I know you came from a musical family, but do your friends from school and from back home and some of your family members, do you have a hard time explaining some of these things to them, or do they genuinely get it?
I think yes and no. I think they get it as much as they can. You know, because if I were to sit down and tell them every single part of what I do and everything that happens to me, they couldn't take that much information, you know? So you kind of just have to tell them this is kind of how everything's going, yada, yada. My dad, to this day, I love him to death, but he can't. He's like, I don't understand. I just like...
There's a lot about this business that's very hard to understand.
And he's a businessman, so it kind of aggravates him where he's like, I just don't get it. Like, what is... publishing and like trying to explain publishing and a record deal. I mean, well, trying to learn that stuff in the first place. I remember when I first moved to town, you have this feeling of like you should know all of the things right when you get there. It's like, no, nobody knows that shit. Nobody knows right when you get there what you're doing. And that's also kind of my pet peeve about just in general is people judge so much about the decisions that every artist makes because, of course, that's just how it goes, right? You're subjecting yourself to the public because this is what we want to do. It's part of it, you know? But I think people really do forget I've never done this before. Believe it or not, I've never tried to be a country music star before, you know? Like, it's really a one-time thing. So,
and for all the similarities, for everybody, it's a very personal journey for each and every one of us because nobody takes the same path.
No.
It's not the same for everybody. There are some similarities, and I always like to talk about those things and find those common grounds because we all share the passion. There's a lot of it that we share together. But the journey that we take, the relationships that we encounter, the record label that we wind up landing on, and just all the pieces, I mean, that's all a very different journey for every single one of us.
One of my favorite pieces of advice I've ever gotten was from Jamie Johnson. Actually, he got from Willie Nelson, sitting right here.
Hello, Willie.
He said, everybody has their own window to go through, and that's why I said the window thing. Right when you go through your window, it closes. You can't. It's not like, because Jamie's like, well, what did you do to get here, to do this, to do that? And he's like, I can sit here and tell you, but you got to kind of just figure it out on your own. And you really
because
do.
the opportunities and the things that are presented to you are different from what was presented to Willie.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be the same journey. I mean, and he's had his trials and tribulations, his highs and lows, his successes, his failures. I mean, it's not been a smooth ride for him either.
Yeah, I just, everyone is just, and and I think there are enough similarities to relate, to have a mentor where it's like, when you were going through this, kind of, how did you feel about your first record getting, you know what I mean? There's some things that, like, we all do. Everyone puts out their first record if you're trying to do this or something like that. But there's no guidebook. There's no, if you want to be a doctor, I got to go to school for this many years. This is the test I'm going to have to take. These are things that I can start. But that's not how this goes. This is a shot in the dark every day we wake up. Every day.
And there's so many different pieces of it to it now. It's like you have to have a social media presence.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to understand sales and distribution. Like you said, you've got to have a general knowledge of publishing, as changing as it is all the time. It's such a fluid side of the business. But there's so many factors of the industry and all the pieces that are around us that it takes years to really comprehend and understand. And just when you think you've got it figured out, something will change.
Something will change.
Because they were still making cassettes when I got my record deal in the early '90s. And then we went to CDs, and just how far it's come. Where most vehicles that are being manufactured nowadays don't even have a CD player.
Mine
in
doesn't.
It. No,
it's crazy.
Mine doesn't either. So it's all changed, and the distribution pipeline and all those other things. It's a fascinating business, but it's an overwhelming business, especially as a young person trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting journey. Like I said, doing it since 18. I don't know being an adult and not pursuing this dream, So it's just, it's a lot with social media and the shows and everything. And it's sometimes, if you look at it in a way where it's like, every year more is expected of me than the year before, and you kind of have to learn how to deal with that.
Does that come from your label?
I think for all around, even myself.
Just the pressure that you're putting on yourself. I'd say I look at it a little bit differently. There's a lot of social media stuff that I don't post. I don't do all that stuff. But I came up in a different era. It's something that I feel like is intrusive into my personal life and my personal space. But I feel like that your generation feels like everybody else is doing it. If I don't, I'm getting left in the dust.
And that's what I'm saying. So, first of all, the to-do list, it's not a to-do list. It's just the life we chose. It's just things. It's just part of our life, And if I'm kind of flipping it around, it was like it's kind of exciting to get to show my new songs and use this and kind of look at it in a positive way, because it is easy to get down on it and think, God, my whole career is based off of virality. Like, that sucks. And it's I feel like a lot of people feel that way. A lot of artists feel that way, and I see all these different artists trying to do it and figure it out, and we're all trying to do that. And two, I feel like, I'm playing more shows than I've ever played this year. I'm putting out a record. I'm doing things, like, I'm doing the damn thing. I'm on a bus. I'm working my tail off. But if I'm not putting enough attention on my social media, I feel like people are like, well, you just don't care enough. And I'm like over here dead. I've been gone. I'm home in my bed 2 nights a week. But I don't care enough because I don't post things. And so I think it's just figuring out how you want to do it, how it works for you and what feels comfortable for you. And it's just, you can't always just do what you think everyone else thinks they want you to do.
I agree with that. You have to do your own thing, and you don't want to burn yourself out on just being forced to do this stuff all the time either.
No,
because it can grind you down.
It can bog you down.
It really can. I don't know how people get up and post 10 times a day. And
some people that's their whole job.
And the other thing that confuses me too, I was blessed with a lot of radio success, and in the last several years, I don't even release anything to radio anymore. So everything that we do is through streaming and social media platforms and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just different. I don't really still know how to gauge the era that I came up in, when you would release a single, you know, we would have about 12 to 14 weeks to be able to get a record to the top of the chart. So you got to experience that journey, that ride of the wave and the intensity and of the public kind of engaging in that as you go through the process. And then when you pick out, you do the burn off, and then you go into the classic pile, and it kind of the up and down process. When you have something that goes viral with social media, how do you know what happened? How do you back that up? If you have a huge viral record that explodes and does like what Dick Down in Dallas did with Trey, and then it explodes, how do you follow that up when you don't even know what happened in the first place?
I don't know.
I don't have the answer.
I don't know.
And there's a lot of people that are chasing it that have had that success. But how do you recreate lightning in a bottle twice?
Well, here's the other thing too. It's like these days you don't have to sing. You don't have to be able to sing. You don't have to be able to sing on stage either. You don't. You know, there's just you kind of. It's not like how it used to be, where it's like you'd be able to sing, you'd be able to perform. You know, but there's. These days, they have things for all that now.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes it gets kind of watered down, and that's why it's the hardest it's ever been to make it as an artist right now, because there are more people than there has ever been trying to be an artist. Because you can sit in your room, record something, put it out on social media. It doesn't matter what the quality is. It just is the power of social media. It's insane.
But how do you reach that large audience? I guess it's just by doing just throwing everything you can, seeing what sticks.
That's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're putting this record out. And we just had a meeting about it today. And
so you're still just doing social media stuff. Mm-hmm. You're not working radio.
Well, I'm having my first song go to radio with Cameron Marlowe. We did one called Strangers. We wrote with Will Bundy.
Has it gone out yet? You getting ready?
Yeah, it's been out, but it's on the 28th.
So you're just getting ready to start a whole nother level of grind.
I know.
Because when you start doing that, then it's the station visits, then it's the free guitar pulls, then it's all these other things that they will layer in on top of you and right on top of your tour schedule and everything else that's going on.
I know.
You're about.
And I
you
ain't
think
even
you're
started.
Exhausted now?
It ain't even started.
Because I always liken that to running for a political office. You just never got to have an election. Because when you're working records up a chart and you're putting one out after another and you get on that grind, you never get to have an election. You just keep.
Yeah.
You get done with one, you put another one out.
You know what? And I feel bad sometimes for some of these people that go from singing alone in a bedroom to massive stages and crowds and selling out things, because you miss a lot of that those experiences.
Oh yeah,
before
and there's a learning curve that goes there too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Learning how to engage a crowd and learning how to put a set list together and learning how to just navigate all those things. It takes a while to learn to do all that.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for even the cover gigs that I did, because I always say if I can entertain a crowd that doesn't give a shit about me, I damn sure can. Do
There's
one that
something
can.
about being able to take a crowd, especially if there's one that's not engaged with you when you walk out on that stage, and just work them until you just
well, because
it's very gratifying.
I'm persistent now, and I like pick certain people in the crowd. I'm like, I'm gonna get you to bob your head by the end of this damn set if it's the last thing I do. And I don't know. And there's even playing acoustic for the years I did that, and that's just if people ask my advice, I'm like, go do that. Go play all the shows, go play covers, go play your own stuff. Just do it. Just go out there and do it. And the experiences I've had, this is when I get, hopefully, and I'm manifesting this, when I get to the top, there it is. Once you get to the top of the mountain, my therapist was talking about this actually, because we were talking about the grind and the way up, and she said, once you get to the top of that mountain, she said, you're going to see that view and you're going to be like, awesome. This is awesome. What now? And you got to turn yourself right back around and start walking backwards kind of. And some people stay up there longer than others, and some, but I'm on the journey on the way up, and I'm enjoying that.
I text Lainey this morning, the ACM Awards were just last night.
Yeah.
Congratulations to her for winning Entertainer of the Year. How about that?
Yeah.
And it hasn't been very long ago that she was opening up for me and and Justin Moore playing acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Just by herself riding around in a van.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she's the hottest star on the planet.
Well, but you can tell when she, at these award shows, when she's singing and she gets out there, you can tell the difference in how she's worked her ass off.
Absolutely.
To be an entertainer and a great singer. I opened some shows for 2022, I think, maybe, and right before she went on Yellowstone.
Yeah.
It was like spring. And there was maybe 100 people, the first show in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And then we played Soul Kitchen in Mobile, and there's 120, 150, and we were hanging out the whole day, and she's just always been so awesome to me. She was, when I first moved to town, she was still playing rounds with Casey and, all of them, and those girls really have been nothing but the nicest people to me. But I remember her being like, damn, when am I going to, when, she had the number one already, and I was like, I was so confident in not being worried that she was going to make it. I'm so like, what are you worried about?
And you've got the same type of personality. Nothing is going to deter you from achieving your goal, because you're just going to keep doing it till everybody just gives up.
I know. I just wear them down.
Just wear them down.
Just wear them down.
Just don't give up. Be relentless. Because if you don't believe in you, nobody else will. Sometimes you just have to keep plowing forward. Put your head down and just keep going.
Well, I had an interview. We did the Opry Next stage in Texas for the ACMs. That was super awesome. Laney was there, and but I did an interview, and he asked me a couple questions, and then he stopped and he looked at me and he said, "Why are you so confident?" Not in like, I'm confused why you're so confident, just why. And which is because I don't see myself as a super confident person. Like, that's my word for this year, is like confidence. And that's what I'm just pushing on myself. I have a picture of me as a little kid on my mirror, just like, that's who you're doing it for. That's who you're doing it for. But I think it's just blind faith, honestly. And I think that comes off as confidence. And I'm confident in my ability to work my ass off, And I can, if you heard my voice, if you listen to my voice, like, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, it's a massive difference. Stuff on stage, there's songwriting. I had no idea what I was doing with that, but I was so determined to do it, to because this is what I want to do, and these are the things that I have to do what I want to do. And I've just, like I said, I'm in love and I'm obsessed with it. It's just.
So when you look back on that little girl, this always fascinates me, because we all have a different dream that we dream. When you closed your eyes when you were that little girl and you dreamed of being a star, what did that entail? Did you see the marquee? Was it the bus? Was it the big crowds? Was it the adoration? What was it? What was the dream?
Stage.
Being on the stage.
Big stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents, my childhood was kind of a time and a half. I let my parents still together, praise the Lord, but it was a time and a half, really. I mean, I'm one of four, and it was just a lot of shit went on, and it was tough. We didn't have a lot of money. It was just a lot. It was a lot as a kid, and they didn't get along for a while. And I love them to death, and we've all talked. I've actually never talked about this on a podcast ever, but and I do know a lot of my toughness comes from those years, a lot of it. But I don't know. It's just learning how to survive, like power through, just get up and go, just get up and do it. Just get up and go. Just even when you feel like shit or you want to, my dad always says, we all deal with, my family is mental health is one of the like main things everyone struggles with. And I hear his voice a lot in my head, my dad. Some things are funny, some things are not. The days when I'm anxious or depressed and I'm like, damn, I just don't want to get out of bed when I was younger. And he said, baby, I know you want to get in the bed and pull those covers over your head. He said, just get up and do it. He says, get up and go. He deals with it. If he's anxious, or it's funny now that I know this about him, thinking about things of when we were a kid. Like on Saturdays, he'd get up. I hated Saturdays as a kid because hey, I need you and your brother to go out in those woods and pick up every limb and put it in that burn pile across the yard.
Yeah.
And we're like, pick up every limb in the woods. He's like, yeah, I need to cut the grass, so I need y'all to go do. I mean, and what it was is that's how he deals with his anxiety. That's how he deals with powering through. He gets up, he gets his hands dirty, he goes to work, and that's how I was raised. He didn't raise me any different. I mean, genuinely, I was his other son. You know, neither of my brothers hunted or really did anything. They did kind of, but I was the one. I loved it. You know, and I don't know, just being raised in that environment of my mom's the same way. She got pregnant at my older brother is my half brother. He's 8 years older than me. She got pregnant at 17. Had him at 18. Had a full ride to any college in New York to be a writer. She's an incredible writer. She still helps me write a lot of my stuff now. But, you know, she just has always figured it out. I don't know. She's just one of those women that whatever, she needed a job. She moved to Alabama, and the guy that she had the kid with was just the worst, and he struggled a lot with, he was an alcoholic, and, you know, that was tough a lot. She was young and moved to Alabama, didn't know anybody, figured out how she was smart with computers, so went and got her license to do that, and that's how she ended up meeting my dad, because he was going to school there, cutting the grass outside, the landscaping, and I've just watched them my whole life persevere. And, you know, the stuff that we went through, I mean, it was just crazy things happen, you know, it just is a lot. And I was the oldest female in the family, so, you know, the oldest girl takes care of little kids. And my little sister's 8 years younger than me. She's literally a carbon copy, but like 10 times cooler. But you just learn, I don't know. And I think those years are a lot of why I can do this the way I do it now.
Do you draw from a lot of that inspiration for songs that you write?
I haven't yet. I don't know. I don't know why.
Sometimes it's hard to write real personal songs. For me, as I learned to write more abstract, where I didn't feel like I had to be absolutely 100% specific and true to the point of what the memory or the thought was, and I can dance around it a little bit and make it more of a creative process with an inspiration inspired by some kind of event or something.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't written about it yet. I think I've just started to like work through a lot of that stuff now. And it's funny because I'm like, wait, I don't have time. I'm trying to be a country music star. I don't have time to deal with that, but you can't control when that happens. So maybe on this next record, I think this first record I'm putting out is a little more about 18, 25, love, lust, adolescence, you know, fun, bar, whatever. But, and there are some cool songs, there's story songs on there. There's one about my grandparents. It's called Closest to Heaven. My dad loves that song. And it is funny to see the songs that he does like whenever, he heard That's Why We Fight, which is a song about like, you know, like sex, pretty much, I guess. Not really, but kind of, you know what I mean? That's why we fight. It's not really, just like maybe kissing or something. Anyways, we'd be on the boat and he's just blaring it, you know, right when I wrote it, he's blaring the demo, and me and my little sister are just sitting there like, does he know what this song? He's like, I love this song. He loves specifically when I write things he says to me. I have this song called Bottom of Your Boots, and he said, he's giving me one of his pep talks, and he said at the end, he said, baby, I love you from the top of my hat to the bottom of my boots. And I was like, damn, Dad, that's good. And sometimes he'll give me hooks like that, and then I'll send him a song, and he's like, dang, that's good. And so I can kind of catch him now when he's like trying to give me a pep talk. He's trying to slip something in there good, you know.
Is that what you think, Willie? I got to tell everybody why Willie Nelson is here. Okay, so this doll has been around for a long time, and for people outside the business, Willie was hanging out at a place called Buddy Lee Attractions, which was my first booking agency when I got to Nashville in the early 90s. Buddy Lee has since closed down, but I'll give you the backstory behind this. This came from the set of Red-Headed Stranger. When Willie was shooting Red-Headed Stranger, Willie didn't like to go in and do the camera blocking because he was probably busy doing whatever Willie does. So they made the doll to go in and do stand-in for him to do his screenshots and everything when they were setting up the camera blocks. And so after the movie was over, Willie put him in the bus and rode him around for several months. And then the rumor is that I've heard is that Waylon kidnapped him. And he disappeared for about 3 or 4 months, and he rode all over the country. And they'd send pictures to Willie every now and then of where he was around the country. Nobody knew who took him. So when Willie finally got him back, I guess he spent a few more months on the bus until he got bored with him. And he wound up sitting in the conference room at Buddy Lee Attraction for years. And when Buddy Lee closed, a friend of mine that now owns this doll went down and helped them move out, and that was their gift to him for helping them move out. So I've acquired Willie for a short period of time, so he's back on the road again. So that's why Willie's here.
His eyes are like creepily real.
So when we took him home, he had my wife and I redressed him. We put him in. We went back through the Redheaded Stranger pictures and tried to get something that was in the ballpark of the whole Western thing. We got a cowboy hat that sits on his head too. But I asked the kids, I said, what if we were getting ready to go on the roadside, had him sitting at the kitchen table, and he was really creepy. And I'm like, I'm going to get him and shoot him in the middle of the night. It's going to freak me out so bad. So what's worse than that is we wound up sitting him in the bedroom in the bay window. We have a couple of chairs there. And you wake up in the middle of the night, and the moonlight's coming through with that thing sitting there. It'll scare the crap out of you. Scared our housekeeper.
It's scaring the crap out of me right now.
Well, you notice I turned the head so he could look at you the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's Willie. He's on the road again. God bless him.
That was good.
So let's talk about road life since we got led to that. I wanna hear what some of the highlights have been on this tour with Riley because we've had a great time out here. It's been very laid back. Everybody's been
love
cool.
this tour.
It's been really chill and easy.
So sad we're
Everybody
getting
does
off
their
of it.
things.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it's kind of rare these days to get on this long of a tour and just have same openers the whole time.
Yeah, it really is.
It's really tough.
I think I've missed 1 or 2 weekends because I had some things that I had on the books. I missed the first weekend of the California stuff here.
Yeah. I get to play 45s whenever that happens, so it's kind of fun.
Playing longer is always good.
It is, yeah. 20 minutes is interesting.
It's a tough slot. Yeah.
I'm more out of breath in a 20-minute than I'm 45 because I feel like I'm kind of just like running around. I'm trying to say hey to everybody. I'm trying to like, hey, good to see you. You know, and then sing my songs, and it's just a lot going on. But I will say we've mastered this 20-minute set. Like we have got it down. And this whole tour has just been badass. We've gotten, first of all, playing this much, we played a lot. 3 nights.
Oh yeah, 3 nights pretty much every week.
Every weekend, yeah. We're on the bus somewhere, flying somewhere, who knows what. Me and you just in Southwest early in the morning. Hey, y'all doing? Hey. Yeah. I think I can't wait to play Red Rocks. I think
it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
But I've had fun out here on the West Coast. What's been
your favorite venue so far? We hadn't done Red Rocks yet. What's been your favorite so far?
I really liked San Diego. That was fun. San Diego was fun. Y'all weren't on those, but that was. I really liked the venue. It was kind of like an amphitheater, but not. It was just like one big thing. It just felt cool. I thought the Floribama shows were fun. Yeah, that felt cool for me because I played a lot of gigs down there. That's how I'd go make my money. Me and my friend Joy Beth would go down there and we'd play for 4 hours. We played 2 shows a day. We'd come back rich. Made $1,000 a piece.
I've tried to decide whether her accent or Hannah Barron's accent is thicker because it is full on Alabama.
Yeah, you know who Hannah Barron is. Yeah,
everybody knows Hannah Barron.
Yeah. I want to go catch one of them catfish.
Big old catfish. Yeah,
we're gonna get
her on the show.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
All right, tell her when you ever be like, all right, you should take Ella catch a catfish. Yeah. All right. The one in Kentucky was cool. I don't know why. That show, the crowd was so electric that night.
Rupp Arena.
Rupp, yep.
I can't remember
my favorite.
The names.
For me, my favorite was probably Rogers, Arkansas. Fayetteville.
I was about to say that was
a big one for me.
Oh, that was an incredible night, and obviously, that
was a big night.
You had the whole chant. Everyone was screaming. Yeah, that was a fun show to watch.
That was a good night. Yeah. So, cities that you've been to on this tour so far, any highlights? Anything different that you didn't expect as you got out here? Because this is first time touring on a bus, right? Y'all were in a van before this, so this is your first one?
Well, we did. We started a bus in the fall. We were on tour with John Party.
Gotcha.
And we started it then.
Makes a huge difference, don't it?
Yeah, man. Oh, God. The van, The van is just, it's
Hell.
tough. It's tough, dude.
Hell.
It's tough. It hurt. Your body hurts everywhere. There's no good way.
And you never get it. You never
get a rest. I'm, driving. I remember, I'll never forget, we were driving through the night one night, because, you want to get home. I don't want to sit in the van all day Sunday. Like, if I'm under a certain amount of hours, I'm driving the van home from the show. I want to go sleep in my own bed. I don't care if it's 4 a.m. when I get there. I'll never forget, we're in the van, me and my old tour manager, his name is Davis Nix. Everyone was sleeping. We started when the sun was going down, and we ended in Nashville when the sun was up. And those drives are tough. Not safe, tough, but
especially
sometimes
when the
you
sun's
just
coming up, it's
do
the
it.
roughest spot.
Yeah, well, I remember I was driving, and I was thinking, I can see this little light, and I was like, at least I'm going to get to see the sunrise. That's what I've been, like, driving towards, this sunrise. And I see this little light. I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is. And I'm like, getting there. And Davis is sitting there. We're just kind of listening to music. We haven't said anything about the sun, but we're both kind of looking at it, getting kind of excited. We're kind of delirious at this point. And we get up to it. We're right there. We come over the hill, and it's a Love's. It's a Love's sign.
It's not the sun.
Shit. And the sunrise was like back over there somewhere. Didn't even get to see it. Those actually, we opened for you. I don't know. I think it was in Kaylee. Do you know where that was? Little Rock. Do you know the venue's name? The Hall.
Oh, I remember that place. That was last year.
And do you remember when we did that show like a while ago?
I remember the show, because it was a lot of people out there. It was like a city block kind of deal, or
wasn't that? What was that venue? It was an old.
This the Hall.
The Hall, is that the one that's outside?
No, it's inside. It's not old,
but it used to be something else. They
Maybe
converted
it
it into a music venue. I remember
We've got
playing
Google.
it.
Let's find out.
I think it may have been a church or a Shriners Hall or a Masonic Lodge. Wasn't it a Masonic Lodge? I think it was. I think it used to be a Masonic Lodge.
What's a Masonic?
It's a cult thing that Junior's part of.
It is not a cult.
It's a cult.
It is the oldest fraternity in existence.
It's a cult that Junior's
okay.
involved
Our
in.
nation was founded by Freemasons. It's a very, very good thing.
It's cult.
Well,
it's a cult. Bunch of crap.
Anyways,
my dad was a Mason too, so I'm just giving you a hard time.
No one in my band, so my guitar player Ben, he's from Australia. He's got big muscles.
Australia. I've seen Ben. I've talked to
He's got
Ben.
big muscles. But they're I say he's all muscle, not a lot of tussle. You know what I mean? Like I love him to death, but he's just not. And the rest of them, they're just not. They just don't. Backing up a trailer is not what they're good at. So, anyways, we're in this. It's kind of a shitty little spot. And your bus was right there, and I'm like watching. I forgot who's trying to do it. My old drummer. He's from Michigan. He grew up in foster care. He doesn't know how to do it. He's no idea. And Opie came out there, and he's like, "Hell, I'll do it." So Opie got it out.
Sounded just like him.
Gets in there, and we're trying to back it out, and he just runs right over the curb. He just runs the van over the curb, and I was like, "Well, shit, I could have done that."
That's our Opie.
That's him. Yeah.
Funny enough, like 2 weeks later, maybe even a week, maybe even the next night, we played. Did we play with Randy the next night or something, or the next weekend? Anyways, we played with Randy Hauser.
Yeah. He's a badass.
He's a badass. That was my first tour ever. Yeah. And we went out afterwards. He's a hoot.
Oh, I love Randy.
Let me tell you.
He is, yeah.
He's so fun. And we went out, and that was the first night my bass player got drunk with us. I forced him. I was like, "You're going to have fun with me."
And then you're going to throw up.
Well, yes. So we're in the van, incredibly so hungover, violently. And it was really, 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 really hot outside. And anyways, we got a flat on the trailer.
It's because Opie run over the curb.
I ain't going to point any fingers. But
Send him a
anyways, but we didn't have a jack or anything. So we're on the side of the road. I'm like, I'm sweating so bad, and it's only tequila, you know. And
the painful sweat.
We had no jack, we had nothing, so I was like, well, let's just take everything out of the trailer on the side of the interstate. Super hot outside. God, I'll never forget how hot it was. And to everything out of the trailer, we jacked it all, turned the thing all the way down, put a bass amp under the back, then turned the thing all the way back up.
Well, that's ingenious, yeah.
And I tried to get Ben. I was like, Ben, you got to use your muscles for something. I need you to get, these are rusted on there. And we didn't have a way to, like, hold the tire still. So I'm, like, sitting there, like, holding on to the tire. Like, while there's a bass amp, you know, and Ben's just, you know.
Did it work?
All muscle and no tussle. We did. We did, actually, get it. We got that.
It seems to me like they could have just lifted the sumbitch up because there's 6 strong arms out there. They're big dudes now.
You gotta understand what I'm working with out here, you know? Like, yeah, when we went down to the Floribama,
oh God,
my bass player Rye, my drummer Howard. I love them all. They're genuinely the best band I've ever had. They're so talented, the best guys. But sometimes their decisions are not the best. And at least they're not out here getting hammered and saying crazy things. Like, you know, it's just kind of stupid shit. Like, they took the van and trailer through a Chick-fil-A drive-thru on the way down instead of just parking and going inside. You know, just don't do that, right? But when they got there, they, instead of just pulling it over here to the side on the gravel, they pulled it right in this sand. This nice, deep, soft sand. And I mean dug a hole, and then just left it there. Do you have a picture of it, Chase? Anyways, that took us about an hour. Had to take everything out of the trailer. Here we are again, hot as shit outside. Take everything out of the trailer. Took forever to get it out. Finally did. But yeah, I'm happy to be in a bus.
Well, you can get a bus stuck too.
I know, but
let me tell you, I don't have to buried them up to the axle.
I don't have to be the one to fix that, though. You know, that's kind of, I can't do anything about a bus getting stuck. That's just, I'm still staying in my bed until I have to get
because you ain't driving it.
No, Miss Alice.
Miss Alice got you.
And she can handle it, too. I hope she's my bus driver until she doesn't bus drive anymore. First day I pulled up, our bus was parked wherever, and I go in there to, like, kind of check it out. You know, I'm so excited to see my bus for the first time. And I see this lady smoking a cigarette out the front window on the bus. And I was like, that's perfect. That's mine. That one's mine. And she's a badass. Favorite drink's Fireball. She only drinks it when she's home. And she's just the shit. I love her to death. She reads a book a day.
Really?
A book a day. Bring her books. Talk about them.
Have a little book club going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we're done with Red Rocks, what does your summer look like?
We go out with Hardy.
Cool. That's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. And festivals. And then at the end of the summer, we have Morgan Wallen.
You got a lot of good stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And then headlining. Well, we're doing like a one weekend with, like, a random weekend with Dirks, and then one random one with Luke Bryan, and then headlining.
Cool.
At the end of the year, which will be my first headlining tour ever. I've only headlined 4 or 5 times, maybe.
What's the biggest crowd you played in front of so far?
Just in general?
Yeah.
12?
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough to look like a sea of people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's
you get
so
nervous?
Cool.
You still get nervous?
I don't know if it's nerves. I think it's more just like, I'm just like antsy to get out there. Like, I felt jittery. The first song I come in real hot, you know, like I gotta, like, calm myself down a little bit because I'm so amped to be out there. I gotta, like, take a second. That's what I'm working on. Taking a second to not just like.
Takes a minute. Yeah.
It does. Well, that's the best part of this year. I mean, we're 130 shows, 140 shows, and that's the most I've ever played in a year. And I'm just looking at this year as I'm going to be a completely different artist, musician, writer with how much we're playing out here. I mean, You do nothing but learn.
Oh, you never stop learning. That's part of the whole thing.
No, and I'm so judgmental of every single thing that I do. I'm like, well, you kind of sounded like shit there. I mean, you could work on that,
It never stops.
Yeah.
And then you'll go back through old records and, 20 years down the road, God, I wish I'd done this different.
I don't listen. I really don't listen to music. After I put it out, I wear it out when it's just mine.
Yep.
And then once it goes out into the world, I really don't listen to it as much. Sometimes, like, maybe, but not really. Like, I'll listen to... Like, I'm listening to my record right now when it's just mine.
Well, but you're critiquing and you're going through making sure everything's done, making sure there's no mix changes. I mean, that's
no, these are just masters. I just kind of, like, I just enjoy... Yeah, at some point, everyone's going to have it. And right now, it's my little thing that I get to just have and be proud of and excited about.
Before the world gets it.
Before the world gets it.
Oh.
But I'm excited for that. God dang, been waiting to put this record out. I'm ready.
Is it a full length, 10, 12 songs?
Well, actually, we cut 19. 18 is going to be on the full record, but I didn't want to put out 18 tracks at one time. I feel like it's hard to digest a whole. If you're someone like Morgan Wallen who has, like, everyone knows Morgan Wallen. You know what he's about. He can put out that many songs because he has, people listening. But somebody like me who's new, I want people to know the songs. I want them, when they're coming to the shows, I want them to know the words and not give them so much that they're going to, it's too many. So 14 will come out in the summer, and then 4 more.
So tell me about the project. What's the personality of it? Rockin' country stuff?
No. Well, there's some. It's kind of a mix, honestly. Well, I grew up on a lot of different kinds of music. Many different kinds of music.
How many times have you sang Redneck Woman?
I've sang Here for the Party more, but
really?
Redneck Woman, yeah, a lot. Yeah. But the title of it's Hungover. And it's kind of a little more of a concept record, really. I wanted someplace, I saw this the way it was all the songs that I had and the ones that I loved. They all kind of had a theme of this young, kind of being unsure of yourself, out of love, lust, figuring your life out, who you are, who you weren't, turning into an adult, moving out, that era of your life, which is just insane because your early 20s, nothing's developed yet, you don't know what's going on, just craziness. So I wanted a place for all of those songs in that part of my life so I can kind of close that chapter and move on to the next part of my life and what I'm going to experience from 25 to whatever age I am when that record comes out. But so, there's songs on there like the one Nicotine, that was the first one. Well, actually Paint the Town Blue will be on there, but Nicotine, and then there's just kind of a theme throughout the record of that, of the different ways to be hungover, it's not just alcohol, it's emotional, it's from an event or a reaction to something, or, all the different things that come with that. There's a song on there that I wrote. This is actually before I had a publishing deal. It's called Monsters. It's the oldest song on the record. It's about mental health. There's some story songs on there. I love writing story songs. There's one that's like talking, kind of like an old Conway Twitty, or one of Johnny Cash. Just like I was done.
I want to know about your influences. Mine, we've talked about my tattoo, my country music Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I love that.
So mine's Strait and George Jones and Keith Whitley and Merle Haggard. And of course, there's a lot of other ones that could be on here, from Charlie Daniels and Kenny Rogers. I had so many of those influences. What would yours be? What would yours be?
Well, I feel like Stevie Nicks would be one for sure. I just got that today, actually.
I see that you have some wardrobe influences from Stevie too.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of venturing around with that right now. It's kind of like just kind of figuring it out. Yeah. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I'm just seeing what feels good. You're playing this many shows every night. It's kind of like just try something with only 25.
That's what they keep telling me too. And I
just
don't care.
Whatever. Yeah,
just throw another shirt.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of have fun. It's fun to try on different things and do. I don't know. Feel confident in what you're wearing on stage. Because sometimes like I find myself on stage where I'm like just getting in it, and then I look up and I'm like, whoa, everyone's watching me right now. Everyone's looking at me. Like, whoa. But no, some other ones are Miranda Lambert was one. I feel like, growing up, that was who was on the radio.
Yeah.
When I was younger. I mean, House That Built Me, like I said, I lost my house. Like, my dog's buried under the oak tree in the yard. Like, that, I was like, that song's written for me. Chris Stapleton, I love a lot. He's one I like the, you know why.
Oh, yeah, the soulful.
You know why, just
Absolutely.
the soulful and
the grit of his voice.
I love the honesty. I love self-deprecating type stuff, and not in just like a, some cheese balls way, but in a way that's like just real. And that's kind of really what I'm trying to do with this record too. It's just honest shit. I mean, some of it might sound like I have this one song on there called "Love You Tonight," and the hook is "Love You Tonight, Hate Me Tomorrow." And I was talking to somebody, and at first I wasn't going to cut that song, and I was like, I wish they would pitch that song. And he said, I don't know if any other female would say that though. And I was like, well, shit, maybe not. So and then cut it because
sometimes it's good to do some things that are a little unexpected and kind of push the envelope a little bit. I think we live in a day and time where shock factor sells. You got to shake the tree a little bit. Yeah.
Well, and two, I think I'm trying to figure out who I want to be for my fans, or not who I want to be, but you're like who you are. Just in general, I'm trying to find the right way to explain that, but
how you frame it up. I mean,
it's just kind of like what's your thing? Jelly has a thing, Lainey has a thing, like every.
And two, I love heavy metal music and grew up loving Van Halen and Dokken and all that stuff, but that wasn't what I was supposed to do as an artist.
Right.
Just because I love it, don't mean I can incorporate that into what I do and what my music is. I had to find my own. What's my parameters and what's my box? I mean, you do have to identify that. If you don't, it can be confusing for your fan base.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think what I want to be is just somebody that is. I've never been, like I said, the one that is picked first, or I started out from day one. I was fighting every day, to like just get what I wanted, and that's just how it's been a theme of my life. I feel like I've really had to bust my ass to get there, and that's just I would say 90% of the population. There's this 10% that live this life where they just it's just easy for them. It feels that way, or it looks that way from the outside, especially with social media and all that, how it's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
And I think just the honesty of like, I'm just a human being, out here living my dream, writing songs. And this is just I'm not like pursuing any one sound or any one thing. This is what it is coming out. This is, I'm narrowing in on what it is. On the artist, Ella Langley.
That's a good thing, trying to figure that out. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully selling out arenas.
That'd be nice. You doing all the things it takes to get there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
If not, I need you to let me know if I'm missing any.
I think you're pretty much on point. It's been amazing watching all this stuff going on out here. You do a great job.
Thank you.
I know you've met my daughter.
We're buds.
Keegan's been out here working on the road this year with us. So
we're buds.
I think don't steal her away from me now.
I'm hey, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like we were talking about it. When you meet somebody and you're just like, I feel like we could have been related probably.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
What do you think, Junior?
Can I tell you something happened to me at catering the other day?
Tell me all about it. I've heard rumors of this.
So I'm sitting there minding my own business, talking to the bass player, eating my Cool Ranch Doritos, drinking my 2% milk. And this unmistakable Southern voice comes up behind me and says, "Hey."
Hey.
And I look up and I said, "Yes, ma'am." And it's Miss Ella there. She says, "You know how to open my English muffin without ripping the top off?" And I sat there for a minute and I was like, I feel like every time I have eat one of them flat biscuits, I've kind of ripped the top off.
And it's annoying.
She said, "Now look here. All you do is You just take it and you just kind of squeeze a little. You just twist this thing, and then she pulled 2 parts apart and looked at me and said, "See." My God, Miss Ella, I just learned something I didn't even know I needed to know. But I've been wondering this one question. So, what is your weirdest habit that you're willing to admit?
My weirdest habit?
It'd be like food, or I smell my shoes when I take them off, make sure they don't stink. So.
I don't know. I feel like I do a lot of weird shit.
Like just throw something at me.
Toenails on the nightstand, stuff like that.
No. I like to snack in my bed a lot. I snack in my bed. That's a bad habit. That's like I feel like I can't go to bed if I don't have a little snack.
Vanilla wafers are great in the bed.
I need a little snack. You know?
Understand.
You might get hungry.
I do get hungry. You best believe at nighttime when I'm watching a movie in my bed, I'm probably hungry.
I've mastered the art of eating Doritos in the bunk at night. Because you be laying there watching, you just eat it real soft because you don't want to
crunch real loud.
I know. Yeah. I'm in my little back room, so I'm just in there crunching away. Last night we had pizza, and I was just
in the bed.
Well, I did eat it in the bed. I did. I mean, I like it in there. It feels comfy, and no one else who's sleeping in my bed. Nobody but me. So I can do whatever I want in there.
Right.
Eat my pizza at 4 a.m. if I want to.
You perfectly separated English muffins?
That I can't take too much credit for that. I learned that one on TikTok, but it blew my mind too. And I just thought I felt inclined to share that with y'all.
What you got, Scott?
I was wondering, you had a cut with Elle King.
Mm-hmm.
So did you write that with her, or was that with somebody else, or how'd that come about?
Well, we got 5 total, actually.
Oh.
That was my first major label cut. There's a song called Out Yonder.
Yeah, that's the one I was listening to. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. So, no, I had that title. I mean, you bet you can't guess who had that title going in the right, Out Yonder. And I wrote it with Matt McKinney and Bobby Hamrick, the other guys on there. And I just walked in there thinking, I don't know what to write this about. And he said, what if it's like, keep your bullshit out yonder? I was like, I love that. And it's hilarious. I love the song. And I wanted to cut it. But then they asked if they could pitch it to Elle, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, X's and O's was the top of my set list in college. When I would just start my covers, like, that was number 1. So I was like, yes. And she loved it so much that she brought us all out on the bus for a weekend. We wrote 5 songs and probably a full day of writing, and she cut 4 of them.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
That was really cool. That was a really cool experience. It's nice to, I feel like writing, you're in your own head a lot. People are like always asking you, what do you want to do? What do you want to write about today? How do you feel? And it's a lot, and that's just part of it. So it's kind of nice when you write for somebody else. You're in their brain a little bit more, and you kind of have to relate to it to get in your own head. I have a movie in my head when I write songs.
I have to visually see things. When I can visualize the scene, my write's so much smoother and faster.
Yeah, I need a whole music video playing in my head, and I'm usually explaining that to everyone in the room. They're like, I didn't do anything for us, but I'm like, well, it did for me, so thank you. But I always have a movie in my head.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I always have to experience that same thing. If I don't, I feel like I'm beating my head against the wall the whole ride. Yeah,
some days it just is, and some days it just isn't, and you can't control it. We wrote this other song. It was actually the first title in my hook book when I made one on my phone, and it's Tulsa. I saw somewhere, you know what Tulsa spelled backwards is?
You slut.
A slut.
A slut.
And I just thought that was good, and I couldn't ever get anyone to write it with me. But then when I woke up on the bus that day to write with Elle King, I was like, she'll write it with me. And I brought it to the other 2 co-writers, and we just kind of came up with that chorus. But it's still one of my favorites. So I think it's so funny.
That's great.
Wow.
She'll write it with me.
She'll write it with me.
She'll do it.
Oh, I would have cut it too. I just, she did good.
Are you going to be sad when this is over?
This tour?
This tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you just get so comfortable. I feel like we kind of started out pretty comfortable too. Like it didn't take long
It's been
for any
laid
of
back
us
the whole
to.
time. Yeah.
And again, it's kind of rare to tour. Touring is interesting. You can't explain it to anybody. It's a different world.
And
None of
every
us.
dynamic with every group is completely different.
It's just it's a different. It's genuinely like a different galaxy. No one out. It's a different world out here than
Yes, it
we're
is.
out there. So, yeah, with everyone being nice, and the food's pretty good, except for that one time where it killed us all.
It's been pretty good for the most part.
That was terrible.
Yeah, there was a couple of bumps in the road. There's been some times I've come back to the bus and fixed a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed my whole first award show from that dang chicken or whatever, meatballs, whatever everyone says it was. I don't know. But probably the chicken if I had to guess. Anyways, but no, yeah. This is and to being first three on stuff. I don't know. It just depends on it really all just depends on the headliner, how the tour is. It really is. Like the whole tour is gonna go how the headliner is their vibe, their
Oh, without a doubt.
feeling is. If they are mad, pissed off all the time, and just weird or whatever, that's how it's gonna be. And it just is that way. And you just have to still get up there and go and do your shit and whatever. But so it's really nice when you get to when you're spending this much time on the road, you actually enjoy the people you're doing it with.
I think everybody's had pretty good chemistry out here too. The band guys, the crew guys, all communicate well. I think it's been pretty smooth for the most part.
Yeah. This genuinely, I keep saying this, will go down as one of my favorite tours I've ever been on.
I hope it's going to be one of many, many, many for you. I think it's going to be a great journey for you.
Thank you.
Anything else we need to know about you before we wrap up? I'm ready to go eat lunch.
Well, yeah, I think we're good. I can't think of anything else.
Well, it's been a great journey so far, and I've enjoyed getting to know you a little bit. Thanks for spending a little time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Ella Langley, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.